This is the kids' short pattern. I took the long pant that we had, chopped off the leg, left around 4 or 5 inches. I have an inch hem. You put some paper here and make sure you match it and cut it on both sides so that the hem flares out like the bottom of the leg opening. So I shortened both the front and the back. I also took a little bit off the pocket. Here's my pocket. And I took a bit off that as well. Made a smaller pocket for a kid. And I decided to be resourceful and use my scraps of my leftover fabric because I am running out of fabric. And I thought a lot of you might be. So here's a way to shrink down this project by turning it into a short pattern and reducing a little bit around that outer edge there of the pocket bag. So I've got some selvage edge here, and I lined this up parallel with my grain line, and then I also lined it up to share the cutting line for the hem. Here I have my pattern weights, but you can use cans if that works out for you, or you can go ahead and use pins and pin through the paper and the fabric until the corners. Continue to pin around the corners. Whatever is going to help you to keep that pattern right on top of that fabric. I'm going to go ahead and start cutting. Here we are at the side seam and we see notches, and that's going to be for pocket placement. So we're going to make sure to get those in there. But first, I'm going to go ahead and separate the front and back along this hemline. And then I can pull and move this around and get a better angle. Neaten up my side seam, and then come back for those notches. That's for the pocket opening and placement. And right down here is for our 1-inch hem. We're going to turn this around and continue cutting on our inseam. And here we have a double notch for our back rise. Only notch in about 1/8 of an inch. And here's our hem. That was our back kids short. Let's put that to the side. And now we have our front. Cut the inseam. Just cut the front rise. Now we're going to cut the waist. Now we're going to cut the side seam. Let's go ahead and put the notch in for the front rise, just 1/8 of an inch. And then our notch is in for the side seam pocket that we're going to inset. And our 1-inch hem. Now we have that front done, and we're going to work on the pockets. I could go ahead and layer up these 4 layers of fabric, but 2 is plenty for me to cut at one time. So I'm doing 2 layers of fabric. That's the waist. This is the outer edge. This is where I took off some of that pattern. And here is the side seam. Let's go ahead and give it the same notches to line up with the front and back leg. Just in 1/8. And here I'm going to neaten this a little bit right on the edge. It was a little rough cut. So I can come back the opposite direction, trim off a little 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch, and smooth that edge back up. So there's 2 pockets, and then now we have 2 more. Good, that'll fit nicely. Cutting the side seam, and because I'm working with scraps, I really want to make sure that I got that whole edge in there before I proceed. Now I'm cutting the bottom of the pocket bag, our curve. Now here's the outer edge where I took off some of that extra. Up towards the waist area. And here we'll just give that a little curve. And let's make sure not to forget our side seam notches so we can line this pocket up. So now we've cut the whole pattern. It's ready to get sewn. That was the layout and cutting of the kids' short.